G'day everyone, welcome back to the Love Cafe. Even though we're in the kitchen, today we're not cooking. Instead, I'm posting a chat that I had on Instagram Live about mental health and its prevalence at the moment, particularly with our stage 4 restrictions. So a few things with the Instagram Live was that obviously it's going to be vertical for most of the video. There are a couple of issues exporting audio and visual, and also this is my first time speaking in such an open forum about this kind of topic, so you'll see I was trying to be as broad and kind of liberal as possible with what I was saying, but sometimes I was just lost for words really. I've left most of this uncut so that you can see its authenticity, which I was hoping to really get across. Nonetheless, I'd say viewer discretion is advised. I'll put some links in the description with some useful resources if you need them, and also I'll put a number up on the screen periodically for Lifeline if you need it. I'm not here to give advice or say how things should be done. I think it's an important topic to talk about. Even though I have a small platform, it's a platform, and particularly I think as you know, there's a lot of people going around like, oh, we shouldn't be encouraging men to speak out, and I think I should take that onus upon myself to share my experiences and not encourage, but just like create that open sort of space to show that, you know, there are people going through the thing. It's okay to seek help. But anyway, so come year 11 and 12, I've always been sort of an academic student. Like I was never an athlete or like one of the cool kids, but academic student nonetheless. And sort of by year 10, 11, 12, I just lost motivation. I didn't have any ambitions or goals. I was like, oh, what's the point? It was stressing me out. And the importance of looking after myself really became apparent in year 11 and 12 when probably my heaviest experiences were with mental health I went through, not with me, but someone I was sort of getting close to at school, just in terms through production and friends groups, took their own life. And I was like even on the fringe, like I would never say that I was close to them or was in their friends group, but I was sort of getting there, and that was just full on. Like I left maths class, which I really enjoyed maths. I left and I was in tears, and I just didn't know what to do or say. I was like, and then throughout that year as well, I was up at one night till like I think 2 or 3, speaking to my old drama teacher or current English teacher, like with someone, you know, like calling the police because they were having, you know, such detrimental thoughts. And so if this is we're sort of getting into it now, so I should say now that if this is something you feel uncomfortable listening to or talking about, I would advise that either feel free to switch off. The numbers for Headspace in Frankston are 9769 6419. The number for Lifeline is 13 11 14. That's Lifeline on 13 11 14, sorry. And if it's an emergency, call 000, or seek help through Beyond Blue. I think I should put that out there now, particularly as we get into it. So, and then through I think year 12, 11, 12, even before, I was just had just mad feelings for this one girl, and that didn't go anywhere. And I was sort of like mentally already there, and then sort of as it sort of just came to an end, it was just like, what do you mean, like crushing? And I just had never experienced anything like that. And that's sort of during the time that I really lent on music as a safe place and as something that I found comfort in. And that band was the Smith Street Band, as many people would know. That band, no matter what you think of them, I know they've had their sort of their dramas in the last few years, and yes, they're sad, and yes, they're whiny and Australian drawl and whatever, but having that connection through a family friend, a close family friend told us about that band, and I never really gave them a run, and then I did, and fell in love with them through Sunshine and Technology was their first album I bought, listening to Young Drunk, and then No One Gets Lost Anymore with Sigourney Weaver, and then More Scared of You Than You Are of Me came out in my first year of university in 2017, and that whole year I felt like I had an identity of going to the city, to uni, seeing my mates, staying in the city with my mate, going to, I think, something like 6 Smith Street / Will Wagner gigs in the span of 2 weeks, going to the launch party of More Scared of You Than You Are of Me, having that album on repeat and skipping Suffer most of the time because it's even full on for me. And I felt a real connection to that band, and you say, oh, they suck and they're sad, but that's where I was. And I realize that now, but at the time I just thought they had really good music, but that album pretty much carried me through 2017, to be honest. And I think I owe that band a lot, and I will forever and always buy their albums and merch. And I'm glad that I found other people that are part of that area. And as of I think about 10 weeks ago, so coming out of uni, I started to feel lost again. It's like every step I make now has to lead into a career. Everything I do has to be right, and I was putting so much pressure on myself that it was affecting my daily life. I skipped doing the Love Cafe, which I enjoy so much. The support that you guys offer through this is just incredible, and to the point where I skipped Love Cafe one day because I wasn't mentally, I couldn't pretend to be happy on camera. I really couldn't. And then one sort of couple days I just sort of broke down and was like, I can't live like this. And Mum sort of said, I think you should see the GP. I was like, no, I'm not seeing the GP. Anyway, I ended up seeing the GP, who sent me to a psychologist with a mental health plan. And that was, I think, probably 10 weeks ago now, because I sort of ended the first 6. The way it worked with me is you see them for 6 weeks, and then you have a review with the GP, and then you go back for 4 more. And then at the 6 weeks, that's about where I fell ill and was in hospital. So I haven't really revisited. I've been in touch with them still. So if those are the kinds of feelings that you're going through, I would encourage you to find support wherever you can, whether it's through family, whether it's through friends, whether it's through a GP, pilot. I know for guys, unfortunately I'm not well versed on women, but we'll get to that and services for those. And LGBTIQ plus people, I don't know too many things about, but certainly for me, I have a good relationship with doctors and my GP, so I was thankful to be able to go there and seek help. This is one of those moments where I was saying couldn't really figure the words that I wanted to say, but really I think all I wanted to say was that to try and find the right help or the right outlets that suited you. Anyway, now we move on to having our special guest on the show, Tilly, who I introduce further in the Instagram stream. Hey Tilly.
Hi Nathan. Hi everybody.
So everyone, this is Tilly, who I went to primary school with and then high school with, and we've known each other for I don't know, years and years. Never really in friends groups, but I've always been around. And you may have seen some of the things she's doing or has done in the last few years. But I'll let her expand on that. So if you don't mind sharing sort of your journey in I guess year 10 or 11, but anyway, sort of, I'll let you take the floor. Tell you what, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks so much for having me on, Nathan. I think I can speak on behalf of everyone that, we can't imagine what, you've had to go through for most of your life. And, I've known you since grade 1, but particularly in the past few weeks, like you said. And I think even though you said that this is a small platform, I think no matter how big or small your positive actions are, they always have a ripple effect. And so, they carry even beyond now, and can encourage other people to have these sort of authentic conversations. So yeah, on behalf of everyone, we thank you for, you know, speaking out today and sharing a bit about your story.
No.
Yeah, so I'll guess I'll share a little bit about mine. Similar to Nathan, I've, you know, battled since childhood with some difficulties, I guess, which, you know, carry on throughout your life and impact you, particularly in terms of anxiety and depression, but also throughout high school, battling with some PTSD. And those sort of experiences we don't talk about enough, and particularly we're not educated on them either. And so, you know, you feel particularly alone. And I didn't notice that this was something that I was dealing with until I had physical symptoms. So I developed a stutter when I was 13 because I was so anxious. And I went to the doctor and I went to a speech pathologist who couldn't find anything wrong with my vocal cords, of course, but they said it was anxiety. So it was from that point where I began seeking my mental health support, which, you know, continues to this day. I was talking to Nathan and I said, you know, even though sometimes I continue treatment or, you know, go back to see a psychologist, it's not a step backwards, it's actually a step forwards. And continuing to build those skills, you know, that we need throughout our whole life to deal with our well-being, and continuing to build a support network of people as well.
So where, I don't know if you're touching, but so where have you found the most support from? Like, was it family or friends, partners, or where do you think it, or just seek wherever you feel most comfortable? Like where?
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I have a really supportive family. So I think having that support network around me really helped. I had, you know, days off school, and particularly I confided in my sister to be able to tell my friends, sorry, I can't come to this party, or sorry, I couldn't come because, you know, not that I'm trying to bail, but I'm actually unwell. So that was really great and really grateful to have that support. But I was thinking about what you touched on, Nathan, about how you were feeling physically unwell when you had to go into hospital. And I was thinking about how self-reflective that was, and that you recognize those signs and symptoms. And I think it's just so interesting that with our physical health, we will recognize those signs and symptoms and act on them, you know, quite immediately. But with our mental health, we don't seem to be as self-reflective, or we avoid it, which is something that, you know, having these conversations, can help to dismantle.
Definitely, I've definitely in the past pushed away, and actually that was another thing that you've reminded me to touch on is I think I sort of realized I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, in that, like, I love socializing, drinking, and it wasn't ever bad, but there were absolutely times where I would actively go out and drink to get drunk, which is not, and it was happening too often, which I realized myself, like, oh, this is not good. Like, that was a sign. And I think, like, it's not a problem now, but that's another thing that I sort of worked out was an issue. And just like, you know, and then in those times you sort of say things you don't mean, or do things that you shouldn't do, or are out of character, and you wake up and you regret everything. And that's, I think, that was a physical sort of indication that something wasn't quite right with me. Yeah. I don't know if you did anything similar, but yeah, that's just another thing that I forgot to mention. Sorry, yeah, carry on.
No, it's totally true, and it's something that, you know, we need to recognize more. We act on our physical health, but not our mental health as well. Yeah, so going on with my story, I think my journey with mental health is quite a long one, streaming from childhood, and also quite a serious one where, you know, it consumed my life. And, you know, I had a very challenging time, particularly during year 12, not just because it was year 12, but because I had unaddressed difficulties that, you know, needed to. And I think you mentioned a school friend passing. That was particularly difficult for all of us as well to cope with. But through those experiences, I think we can continue to learn and talk about, and being able to have these discussions. And when you asked me to come on and join today, I always still feel a little bit nervous to talk about these sorts of things, but I think that sort of nerve um, it's actually really positive. Like we need to speak out, and there's still a long way to go, so we don't feel nervous having authentic conversations about ourselves.
That's what I was like. As I said at the start, I've written down things that I want to say, but I'm bound to forget some things. And
sorry, I'm just saying.
The first thing, it's so hard, but creating the space to at least, I don't think encourage people to speak out is the right way to say it, but just demonstrating that it's okay to find your own way of coping with things, and finding the support like we've been able to is something I wanted to sort of share and help people do. So going through school in year 12 is where everything's sort of amalgamated into this. What sort of where you've gone from there with I don't know if you wanted to touch on the 10K and Beyond Blue stuff yet, but go.
Yeah, sure. So I think likewise, I was in hospital for 2 weeks during my year 12 year, and I think there is a certain time during that you are forced to be reflective and try and take another perspective on things. And I also just wanted to compliment you on that. Despite what you were going through with your hospital stay, you're still such a genuine and kind person to the nurses and to the other patients. I just find that so admirable and awesome. It's really awesome, Nathan. You're such a genuine person. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's so good.
Thanks.
Where was I going? Yes, but I think coming out of a hospital stay, it gives you a fresh start or a new perspective, or just an element of, I don't know, it changes the pace, I think, and you're sort of forced to come to think about your thoughts.
I was very sort of scattered going in those few weeks, and then I just went from here to here, and I was like, all right, slow down. I'm not missing anything. I'm getting paid to be in here through JobKeeper. I can afford to just sort of slow down and do nothing for 3-4 weeks. However, I actually thought it would be a 2-week stay, and then they're like, a bit longer.
Such a long time as well, especially with restrictions.
But I don't know. It was interesting, and interesting hearing you have had a similar experience. That it's just easy. I don't know, not easier, but like you do get the opportunity to just have that self reflection and introspective look at where you are in life and where you go. So coming out of those 2 weeks, what sort of came of that?
I think I was just I was legitimately at rock bottom. I had nothing to lose, so I thought the only way out of this is up. And no matter what step I take, it will be a step in the right direction. And so I just thought I really want to try my hardest to get away from this place and try and get better. And so that's what I did, and I've been really fortunate with a really positive family network, like you mentioned, which I'm so grateful for, and friendship network as well. And then I think as time passes, I think there's a saying that time heals wounds, and I think being patient with every step of the way, and that recovery is not linear, and there will be steps backwards, there will be challenging times, but like I said, they're not steps backwards, they're actually steps forward.
Amazing. That's a great. It's pretty cool that you're able to still have the mindset, I think, of that every step is up. I'm certainly still nervous being on new drugs. I'm like, oh god, it's going to be a long road to where I was, but it's I think that's a pretty difficult thing, is to still have the positive mindset, or like even in the times of absolute dire straits, I guess, like just rock bottom, as you said, but I think it is the only way that you have to look at it and go like, what's I can't really get worse than this. Let's do it. And it's and then having the support group is really imperative. So did you want to touch on, do you want to speak on what you did in the year after, was it the year after school with Beyond Blue and stuff?
I think it was the year after that, so 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
sure can. So I think
Because that was go on,
Yeah,
go.
sure. I think part of my something that really stuck with me with my mental health recovery was sort of this like passion, I guess, but also like annoyance. So we had never been educated about mental health, or that I'd never had a conversation about it with anybody. So I had to do something about it, and I had to contribute to the awareness of, you know, helping to break down stigma and have these sort of conversations. So I made a video at the end of year 12, like a mental health awareness video, which was received quite well. I had a goal of it getting 2,000 views, and it did in 24 hours, which was awesome. I love doing that. And it was it was a step out of my comfort zone for sure. But people, someone mentioned it the other day, and I thought, how do you remember that? I can't believe that,
Still,
it did have an impact on people. Yeah. Yeah. And then a couple of years after that, I set a goal to raise $10,000 for Beyond Blue, because particularly for Beyond Blue, I was involved in their research trials while I was in hospital. So I've worked with them, doing some research as for their suicide prevention app that they were developing. So I was a patient, actually used to trial that. So
is that out available now, or is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's called Beyond Now. So it's
Beyond
a suicide prevention app. Yeah, so you can check it out. It's on the App Store for Apple and Android. Yeah, so I was directly involved with the work they do, and knew that, just these little things from, we think big organizations, what are they going to do? But I had firsthand experience with that sort of stuff. So, $10,000, a massive goal, but I consistently raised $1,000 each month, and just said, there's nothing I can't do that will raise this money. Like, I'll try everything to raise this money. So
every avenue, What you did stuff with, I won't mind us mentioning Morgan doing like photography and stuff, and
shout out to Morgan and Henson.
Got down and got food and sausage sizzles. Just went all balls to the wall and trying everything. It was so cool to see. And then what stage was it? Melbourne Marathon, or was it a different
Melbourne Marathon. Yeah, so part of that, like, campaigning was running a half marathon, which would obviously be a milestone in my recovery to be able to get back into exercise and do that, and was a driving force that physical health is so important, but also so is mental health, and needs equal exposure. Yeah.
Like I think I walk maybe 200 meters. It is up to the cafe now, and I'm puffed out. Like
I think I'm pretty unfit as well.
And I struggle so much. So being physically active, absolutely, like, it's so important as well, and I think contributes. But I speak for myself, but is so important for my personal mental health, and that's a struggle to get back into. But setting a goal of a half marathon. Had you done one before?
No, that was the first one.
First one.
Yeah.
You did have just training for it, and kept advertising. So that was, and then so that was that. Would you call that sort of the first project or first sort of thing to keep you, I guess, occupied, if lack of a better word, or like just
Absolutely. And it was something I really had to put my mind to, but also I learned along the way when I was doing this fundraising that I had to put myself out of my comfort zone, and if I gave up because I was, too scared or too anxious or too embarrassed to raise money for mental health, which is, ridiculous, I was actually doing a disservice to the people who, I was trying to spread awareness about. If I was too anxious to ask someone to donate money, then I'm not raising awareness against anxiety or something. So I was actually learning a lot about myself along the way. I remember I asked some local shops to have a donation can that I'd made, and went around to all my local shops, and you know, some would reject me and some would, you know, get right on board. But I remember being quite, like a little bit nervous to ask them to support my cause. Yeah, and I just thought, no, I need to do this. Like, this is exactly what I'm, you know, spreading awareness about. So yeah, it was an awesome project, and yeah, like I'd do it again. It was so cool.
Well, yeah, well, so you got there, and then so and now, like, now we're doing video. Actually, we'll touch on that a bit later. You can talk about what you're doing then. But so, what do you have any experience, I guess, or like what I'm trying to get at, and I'm struggling to sort of
That's okay.
is talking about mental health, like right now, particularly during lockdown 2, COVID, and I think a lot of people are going to experience isolation for maybe the first time in their life.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't want to say advice because it's kind of difficult to just say how you should be coping with things or what you should do. It's obviously going to vary person to person, and we're not health professionals, but given your and my experience, do you have, like, you know, what can we say on sort of coping during these times that are unprecedented for everyone, and just, like once in a lifetime, hopefully? What I'll say, what advice would you give? But I can't stress enough that we're not medical professionals or anything like that.
No, exactly right. We just talk from personal experience, which is a powerful tool in itself, but we're not health professionals. Yeah. So I think a piece of advice that I can give is that we're quite fortunate to be in a digital age where we have access to so many resources online, and from a place of isolation, we can access advice on our phones or call a helpline or an online chat, which is something, you know.
Sorry, like 14 seconds left remaining. I'll continue this. We'll just start a new call.
Okay.
I don't know how to end it. Actually, if I just X. But anyway, guys, we'll be right back. I'll download this and then we'll get straight back on. Okay, that was odd. I didn't know there was a limit. Sorry about that. To you and everyone else. But we're back, and we're talking about coping with our mental health through this whole COVID crisis and lockdown number 2. So we're saying, like, Tilly was talking about in the digital age, and we can call people. Carry on, I guess.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is that a piece of advice that I think is really helpful is that there's something called the no wrong door policy, which means that you can go to services, and even if it's not what you're seeking, they'll put you in the right direction. So Nathan, you said you went to the GP about your mental health, and then they, you know, can recommend a psychologist in your area, or if you want to see a female or a male practitioner, that they can help you with that. And so there are so many services, depending on what you're seeking and what you're battling with, that can help you. And if it's not the right service for you, they can point you in the direction of another one.
So is it a website, or is that an app? What's that? Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a term that they use for addressing mental health. So it's not actually a policy. It just means that there's no wrong door that you can go. Yeah.
And so that's like, you go into your GP and be like, hey, this, and this, where can I find the people?
And they're not going to turn you away. Yeah.
For sure. In terms of what I've been coping, like, I love my sport, I'm no athlete, but I would highly recommend, if you can afford the, I don't know, $10 a month, KO is got cricket on, had the Formula Ones on the other day, footy's on, you can watch every game. That's been really helpful, as well as, chatting to friends online. And if you're looking to get into video games, this is the time, because what else are you doing? I don't know if you play anything. I think with my tax return, I'm going to go buy a Nintendo Switch if they're available. And I think, you know, just to touch on game, like, it has a bit of a weird sort of, not stigma, but like energy around gaming. But there's games for everyone, whether it's solitaire or whether it's an online board game like Catan, which is so odd. And then someone's been trying to get me into Age of Empires, which is like a tower defense. I don't even know yet. there's good platformers like Mario and Crash Bandicoot that are as old as time. There's something for everyone, and I would promote that. And then obviously,
And cooking, of course.
sorry?
And cooking, of course.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, I'm going to suggest cooking and starting a new coffee addiction if you don't have one already, because I think I counted one day I have like 7 ways to make coffee, ranging from like 20, or even instant is just about free. It's like $3 for a jar of an international roast, to my like $900 on espresso machine now, even with secondhand. Like, there are that many ways. There's that many ways to skin a cat. I think probably the most approachable one that you might already have at home, everyone, I would say, is Bialetti Mocha Pot. It's, you pretty much, we've done it on the show. You just put some ground coffee. You can go to you can get ground coffee from. This is a derailing now, and you can see my passions kicking in here. You just go and get ground coffee from the supermarket or your local roaster. For me, that's Common Folk or Little Rebel, or your Curry is coming out shortly. I'm going to go search them up online and Instagram. That's YUKKURI for India. And you put your ground beans in here, you put your water in here, that goes in there, this goes on the stove, this goes on top, and then your black coffee comes out in there, and then you just add milk if that's your bag. But yes, cooking and coffee and the Love Cafe are all going to take off. And then, yeah, so, but Tilly has a new project that she's working on at the moment, or is sort of got legs already. And just plug it. Go for it. Go on, like.
Thanks for the shout out, Nathan.
What are you doing? What spaces are we working on? Who are we working with? Go for it.
Thanks. I've just started a videography business, which people don't know what that is. It's photography, but not. I make videos. I make promotional videos for businesses. I don't know why people say, what's videography? I feel like it's self-explanatory. So yeah, it's an exciting project, and I feel really fortunate to be able to do that during this time with small businesses who may or may not need that exposure and that help to help grow their business on their social media and stuff. So it's great to support the locals and get creative as well.
Is that something that you've always had a sort of inkling for, or is it just new, or is it like, how'd you get into that? Like, if people want to start a new hobby, whether it be cooking or videography, how did they get into what you're doing, or photography, even if wanted to?
Yeah, I think I've always loved videos. I've always made movies with my siblings when I was a kid and stuff, and made some, stuff throughout high school. And I guess it is something I've wanted to do for a little while and done, but not officially with a business. But I think seeing other people's, especially during this time, a lot of people have come out with creative projects, such as, the Love Cafe and, DJing, and I've seen a lot of graphic designs.
Rebuilding a couple of cars we've seen. The graphic design.
Rebuilding some cars.
Yeah,
I felt encouraged by people who were also, doing what they're passionate about, and thought, why not? I was already doing some video work, so I thought, why not put myself out there and make an Instagram page? Yeah.
Sure. Okay, cool. So what are we called? Where can we find?
Oh, forgot to mention, I actually nearly joined this live stream on my other account. So it's called @Storyteller Videography. So yeah. Cool.
I'll drop an in the next post of the second IGTV.
Thanks.
So people can find you. Not a problem. Is there anything else? So that pretty much, I think, wraps up what the broad topic that is mental health and that sort of realm, particularly in these times. Is there any sort of final things that you wanted to sort of mention or say? Just any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts are, I think that so many people are afraid to have these conversations, and you know, that's totally fair. And I always feel a bit nervous speaking out about my mental health. Still, it's something that I feel like we still feel quite ashamed about. But I think it's so important to help break that silence. And I know I said this earlier, but no matter how big or small your actions are, talking about mental health or spreading mental health awareness, that it's like a ripple in a pond, and it can reach people and have a broader impact than you think it does. And it can help encourage or empower other people to have these authentic and brave conversations in their own lives. So yeah, I'd encourage, you know, people to talk to loved ones and seek support if they need it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being available to come on and share what you've been through. Especially, she just came from work, everyone, so it's a busy person. So and thank you everyone who tuned in. I was like last night and this morning, I was so nervous to do this, you know, like I was like, do I even have the right even to be speaking on this? But no, I thought like you were saying, like it's not like I didn't sort of go through the thoughts of disservice, but I think particularly with that Men's Mental Health Week, that was on in the 14th to the 20th. So is there any, I know for men there's one called Pilot. Are there any, do you know, for women or children or LGBTQ plus people, do you know of any others that are out there that we could share? Because I'm only speaking from my experience, and that's not to take away from any others, but that's all I can speak on. So is there any other avenues that you know?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many different days that we can celebrate and use to spread mental health awareness, but also every day is important. I don't know the dates off the top of my head.
That's right.
Yeah, we can add them on later. Yeah, but certainly there's so many. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess I would say the things that have helped me have been music, the support from family and friends, and cooking. I couldn't stress enough how like much a creative project, like we've just touched on Tilly with videography, people with DJing, graphic design, and rebuilding cars or photography or whatever it may be. If you want to share it online. Like now's the time to be doing that kind of thing, I believe. And that's what I'm really going to be trying to do in the next few months. Just sharing my passion. I'm not qualified. I don't have any formal training. I just love it to bits. And yeah, so thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tilly. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the support that everyone's shown. I guess me, if I'm going to be self-indulgent for a second, but thank you for getting in contact and really helping us through a few weeks. Yeah. Go.
Also thanking you, Nathan, as well, because you're the one who, you know, delved into this conversation today and shared a bit about your story and what you've been through. So, yeah, thank you, I think.
No, yeah, happy, nervous too, but happy too. I get, that's the end. Thank you so much. Bye, Tilly, and see everyone else. See you guys. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you made it through the whole thing in one go, well done. This is really big, I think, for some of the people involved, not just on screen, but behind the scenes as well. Thank you so much, Tilly, for coming on, being part of the show, and also allowing me to post this. Next week we'll be back cooking. Looking forward to it.